Well guys, welcome back to another video. This one's a little different. I'm gonna be trying some powder coating. I have kind of all the stuff that we need. I got the Eastwood powder coating gun, and this is the dual voltage, so this is kind of nice because you can do high or low. So from the reading I've done, sometimes like the high voltage is good because it makes it stick better obviously, but sometimes when you're doing like a cage or a frame, sometimes there's these nook and cranny, and the high voltage can actually act as kind of a magnetic barrier in tight corners, and so the powder doesn't go into there as well. So sometimes it is nice to have the high and low, so I guess that's why I got that one. I have an oven here that I bought that I'm going to be using to bake, and so for this specific powder it says to preheat to 450, and then I will be baking it for 20 minutes at 400. I guess you're supposed to put it in there, and then once the powder kind of liquefies, then you start the baking process. So we'll see. This is my first piece. It's just this little piece here, just pretty much a piece of scrap metal that I found around. So we'll be testing on that. I've wanted to do this for a long time. Finally got all the pieces to do it, and it's going to be a good tool to have. Oven went off, so that must mean that it's done. Yep, 450. So I guess let's powder this piece, and I guess we'll see how it goes. Well, there we have it. It's covered in powder. Guess we will put it in the oven and see how it does. Well, it is the next day. I did finish my piece here. And what are you? Oh yeah. So this is the piece. Getting the sunlight. Came out pretty good, not bad. This is just hot rod black that came with my Eastwood piece. It's yeah, pretty. I just baked her for, I probably baked it for like 25-30 minutes. You want to make sure the metal itself is up to temperature, which is 400 degrees. We have Rowan trying to get attention over here. Yeah, so that was just the powder that came with, nice. That was the powder that came with the gun. This is some satin black that I got from somewhere, I don't remember where. So I'm gonna be using this. This is actually gonna be for a Firebird piece. These are the braces that hold the axles into place actually. I forgot to get these powder coated when I sent everything off, and I guess that's kind of why I bought powder coater to begin with, because I was like, man, there's gonna be so many things that I want to powder coat, and I don't want to go to a powder coat every time I need something done, so I can just do it myself instead of 100 bucks there, 100 bucks here. So in the long run, this will save me quite a bit of money, not having to go to the powder coater every time I want little pieces done. So looking forward to be able to do this. So I think here, I got these all cleaned up, and I used a grease remover, but I'm also gonna use some fire. I did, yep, we're gonna paint these. I'm gonna use fire because that kind of helps kill things off, burn things off, and it'll help preheat the metal. You're just being so helpful. Yeah. And it'll help clean and disinfect things as well. So find the torch over here. So again, this will help burn off contaminants, things like that, just because a lot of times metals have some type of oil on them to keep them from rusting, and then of course all the hands that have touched these. This will help burn off those contaminants as well as preheat the metal a little bit. You don't want to preheat it too much, or else it can affect the powder. But doing just a little bit like this. Like so. All right, we got the pieces in the oven. Had one little mishap while I was picking them up. My finger brushed one of them, and so it kind of wiped some powder off. So I had to repowder that one. No big deal. But I have them in the oven. So the instructions say to wait about every 3, 4, 5 minutes. Look at it and check to make sure they check to see if they've liquefied or flashed. So you just open it, and especially because powder is going to be super dull looking. So if you look at it and everything looks shiny, you know that it's liquefied. Then you start the timer and let them bake for the 400 degrees or whatever it calls for. So right now, just waiting for that flash time, and then I can start the timer. All right, got my assistant here. These are all done and baked so far. Looking pretty good. Not too shabby. So we got to finish letting them cool. We're done for the day though. Just leave the door like that, let it finish cooling. Should we go home? Rowan? No. It's bedtime. All right, so we'll check on them tomorrow. They should be cooled off by then. We're going home? Okay. So we'll check up on them tomorrow, see how they look. All right, we are back. It has actually been a couple days. These are obviously done baking. They turned out great. And another thing that is great, if we walk over here, which I was a little bit worried about because I wasn't sure how well it was gonna match. But if you put these next to each other, you can see they are pretty much identical. So makes me feel good. That means that these will be a good match. This paint will be a good match anyways. So I'm a little bit worried about that just because I don't know where. So the guys that powder coated the frame, I don't know where their paint came from. So obviously I wasn't sure if all semi-gloss was similar or not. So I got some and it worked out. These are pretty much perfect match. So that's good. On to the next thing. Now that I've done a couple practice runs, we're going to be doing the third member. So this is the rear end for the Firebird. Honestly, I'll be honest, 9-inch 410 rear end. It's from Strange Engineering. I honestly don't know that much about it. Again, this whole classic car, muscle car thing is new for me, learning, so I don't know a whole lot about all these parts. I know there's a lot of different ways to make good power and to make good torque. And obviously it's come from the Roadster shop, so I assume it's probably pretty good. But obviously we need to get this powder coated to match everything. And we're gonna have to do some masking off, obviously, because we don't want any powder in here. This is already, looks like coated, so we might not have to worry about those, but we need to do this outside of the diff. So I'm going to be figuring out how to mask this. I'm pretty sure it will fit in the oven. I don't know how well it'll hold. This is heavy, so I don't know how well. It's probably gonna be a bugger to get in there just because it's so awkwardly heavy, but pretty sure it's gonna fit. It'll fit, so I'm not too worried about that, but I do have to figure out how to get it in there without it rolling over or rolling around, scuffing up the powder before it cures, so things like that. So I'll figure that out, get this all masked up, and we will continue. Well, we got it all prepped, taped up, everything I don't want coated, covered. Got some silicone tape underneath that will hopefully cover everything. But yeah, went through and cleaned it really good. So I guess we just go for it. A little nervous, but hey, we're learning along the way. All right, everything's all coated. Looks like everything got pretty well. Tried to get the nooks and crannies really well. But yeah, looking good so far. Now the fun part of getting it in the oven without scraping any of the powder off. Well, got it in. I'd only burned myself a little bit on the arm, but now I'll wait for it to flash. I'm gonna start and hopefully everything goes to plan. Doors closed all the way. Man, that thing was heavy. Well, here we are the next day. Came out pretty good. Few things I learned on this. It is, I guess it's hard to coat something like this because the metal is so thick, and so it takes a very long time for the temperature to come up to the 400 degrees. I don't think I really ever got there, so we'll see how well this holds. Looking at it, seems like it's good. Does seem like it's a little more gloss than the other piece, so that makes me wonder if it didn't have time to cure enough, but I think it'll do for now. All else fails, sandblast it, redo it. If I did it again, I would just use paint, some type of epoxy paint and something like that, but for now I think it'll work. So let's pull this out and go set it over by the frame. All right, we got this third member, rear diff, whatever you call it, back over here. And yeah, I think we're ready to make some more progress on this bad boy. I do need to figure out the threads and get nuts and bolts for that, or I guess nuts, bolts are already there, before we can put that on. So I'm gonna have to run to the store and get those, but yeah, after that, slide that in, we can put the axles on, then we can put brakes on. I did get a mount for that, it's just sitting there, so we need to bolt that on. So yeah, there's definitely some stuff that we can do now. Finally, I've been waiting to be able to powder coat so we can get these little pieces done so that we can continue on this. So now we're gonna be back in business, but I think I'm gonna end this one here. But the next video on the Firebird, we will be making some progress, so stay tuned for that. Thank you guys. I'll catch you on the next one.